The Imperial River, the jewel in nature's crown. The Imperial River Conservancy is an organization that promotes and takes actions to preserve access to the river and support the ecological health and function of the Imperial River. The Conservancy is a registered nonprofit corporation that has been active for almost 25 years. The state of Florida says officially that the river starts at 26 degrees, 22 minutes, 16 seconds north by 81 degrees, 41 minutes, and 23 seconds west, which is somewhere near the center of the Flint Penn Strand, and makes its way for about 9.3 miles south and west, gathering and combining, as rivers all do, into creeks, streams, rivulets, and eventually a unified water flow that is the Imperial River. Mankind also contributes to the flow by virtue of the Cale Canal, which extends to the east beyond the natural feeds of the river, and Oak Creek also adds to the river a couple of miles west of the headwaters. Much of this water comes from natural and as yet unaffected by man areas. Historically, the Imperial has a small volume of flow, somewhere between 150 and 400 cubic feet per second, and is considered one of Florida's small rivers. The water upstream is fresh, but as the river gets closer to the Gulf of Mexico, the tides introduce salt water into the flow, and the water is brackish. This changing characteristic of the water produces small but wondrously interesting habitats for a wide variety of flora and fauna. Eventually, the official end to the river is less than 7/10 of a mile from the Gulf, as it empties into Estero Bay to the north, Fish Trap Bay, which lies to the west, and Little Hickory Bay to the south. For the next few minutes, the images will show activities around, on, and over the Imperial, and will take you to places few get to know well. Even though the Imperial is a small river, its winding course passes an impressive number of species of plants that include lilies, ferns, bromeliads, orchids, bald cypress, oaks, pond apples, strangler figs, and 3 types of mangroves, just to name a few. The animals of every description reside by or visit and utilize the Imperial for their livelihood. Fish are abundant in both fresh and saltwater species. The freshwater species like brim and bass and alligator gar abound. Even alligators and several species of turtles, crabs, snails, and snakes are locals. The saltwater species include snook and mullet and needlefish, and even cow-nosed rays can be seen upriver in the spring. Manatees are consistent and constant visitors as well, and so are dolphins as they swim into and out of the Imperial. Living along the banks are raccoons, possum, gray squirrel, bobcats. Birds range from waterfowl to songbirds to osprey to bald eagles. While too many to list completely, the varieties one can see range from gnatcatchers to cardinals and jays, egrets to herons, and kingfishers. The landscape on either side of the river changes from swamp to urban to estuary as the Imperial makes its way to the bays that it feeds. The eastern end is mostly preserves, comprised of the Crew, Flint Penn Strand, and the Bird Rookery Swamp. As the Imperial makes its way west under the I-75 bridges, the swamp gradually gives way to the more urban areas. And the Imperial approaches US 41, its banks begin to transform into estuaries, so vital for the myriad of local birds and fish in which to breed and raise their young. The mangroves are the red, black, and white varieties, and each has their respective positions from the water, and the specific ways each supports particular birds and animals. The people in the area enjoy and use the river much like the plants and animals. Activities like canoeing, swimming, boating, fishing for enjoyment, and also making a living by harvesting crabs and mullet. From start to finish, the Imperial is a jewel in nature's crown. It deserves all the love and care those of us who are fortunate enough to live by her banks can give. Please learn about the Imperial. Treat her with respect and use her sparingly so that many generations to come will know this precious small river.